What's going on, guys? Welcome back into another episode of the Pittsburgh Pirates franchise here on MLB The Show 22. In today's video, we have quite a few things to update you guys on, and I'm going to start with roster moves so that we can cover everything that has happened so far. We have moved forward pretty far, about a month or so within the game, so that we could get to the draft and update you guys on who we drafted and things like that so we could make some progress. And therefore, the roster has changed a bit in that time. In the last video, I believe we talked about Marcano here and potentially calling him up to the major leagues because of how well he was doing down in the minors. And we did, in fact, go ahead and call him up to the major leagues, and he is excelling right now. And I didn't know that he had previously had MLB service time with San Diego. So you can see a clear progression here from his time there to his time now with the Pirates, where he's up to batting .268, which is pretty solid, and I'll take that out of a guy that we really had no expectations for coming into this franchise. Nonetheless, though, we did make a couple other moves with the roster. Specifically, the big players that we need to update you guys on are Roansy Contreras, or Roansy Contreras. They say it 9 different ways out there whenever we're actually watching true life MLB games. Nobody can decide on what his name is actually pronounced as, but nonetheless, I'm just going to go with Roansy because that's what I've heard his teammates call him. So Roansy Contreras has come up to the major leagues now. He has played 4 games for us so far and has a 3-0 record with a .93 ERA, and that's just a direct continuation of his fantastic performance in the minor leagues. He is doing phenomenal for us, and honestly, he seems like a player that could potentially be an ace for us in the future. I really like what is going on with his development so far, and he has been a stud for us, and he's been part of the reason why we've been able to kind of hang in there around that 500 mark, and the reason also why I've decided to go out and make one more move, which was to address the bullpen, because the Pirates bullpen in the game is atrocious. Really, we have Bednar, and after Bednar, we have almost nobody else. So I inevitably looked around to see what teams are losing, what teams are at the bottom of the division, what teams are at the bottom of the league, and I eventually settled on, I believe it was the Mariners, who Diego Castillo comes over from. And yes, Diego Castillo, the relief pitcher, not our Diego Castillo, our second baseman. Yes, we do now have 2 Diego Castillos on the team, but I believe it was the Mariners that he came over from. Yes, Seattle, he came over from them, and we brought him over to the team just after the draft because we need help in the bullpen, and I do want this team to be set up for the future, so we were looking for somebody that wasn't really old, wasn't really on a long deal or anything like that. We could work on a deal ourselves that works for the team. So we went ahead and traded them some prospects and some players at the positions that they needed because they were one of the bottom teams within the league. I mean, they have no hope of coming back from it. They have no hope of having a winning season or making the playoffs or anything like that, which is surprising because that team is pretty solid on paper. So this franchise sim is a little bit weird, but nonetheless, that is the situation that they're in. So we decided to go over and get Diego Castillo, who's on a 1-year deal, 82 overall B potential, 28 years old. So we will be able to kind of have him in that window with our other players that are in that 27 to 28 year range, like Brian Reynolds, that are being extremely effective for the team. And he wasn't playing all that well, as you guys can see, for the Mariners anyway. So we brought him over, which was a huge pickup, and I just really like the fact that we can have somebody else that we know we can count on in the bullpen. So this was a massive pickup for us, even though for most other franchises this would be considered an average pickup, adding somebody that would help their team, but it's an 82 overall. So for most other teams, not that big of a pickup. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, this is about as splashy as you can realistically get with this team. And so this takes us to the calendar and takes us to our current record and our standing within the division. Now, we are still quite a ways behind the Brewers right now, and the division is actually shaking out in a very weird way. The Brewers are on top, the Cubs are in second, we're in third, tied with the Cardinals, who I don't know how they're underperforming so badly, but they're 27 and 29. They're one of the best teams in the game. They should not be 27 and 29. Maybe they'll pick it up as we continue onwards, but nonetheless, they're sitting there there at 4th, tied with us, and the Reds are sitting in 5th place. So we are at that 500 mark, and we are kind of at a semi-competitive standpoint, and I would like to continue that going, and that's why I've been bringing up certain players to try to provide a spark, and made that trade for that relief pitcher, because I really think that that's going to help the roster even for years to come. And so we sit at that standpoint. If we go back and take a look at the calendar, we actually picked up a lot of crucial wins throughout the month. We got a 4-game series sweep against the Cincinnati Reds, which was huge. We got a series win against Chicago. We did get a series sweep against St. Louis, which was just mind-boggling to me, but inevitably we were able to get that done. And then, we had the Padres, who we lost the series against, the Dodgers, who we lost the series against, and Colorado we lost the series against. But nonetheless, it was really these wins against Cincinnati, Chicago, and St. Louis, which are division opponents, that were absolutely massive in sending us forward to a semi-competitive standpoint. Beyond that, though, I want to get to the one topic that I really want to address in today's video, which is the draft and how we did in the draft this year. We had an absolute phenomenal draft. Now, keep in mind, whenever we take a look at these prospects on the screen here, things are going to change. These players' names are going to change. They may change to real-life players. I want you guys, if you're watching this video, to submit names down in the comment section below for these prospects. It can be fictional names, it can be real-life player names that are potentially going to be drafted that would represent these players that we've drafted. Now, obviously, I want you guys to keep it within the realm of possibility. I want these to be semi-realistic names. If it's a fantasy name, don't have it be Bobby Boucher or something like that. Don't have it be something profane. Obviously, I'm not going to pick any of those. I'll just pick ones that I like from your comments. So if you do want to see one of your names featured on one of our draft picks, leave all that down in the comment section below. But with that being said, the ratings for these players are also probably going to change slightly, because MLB oftentimes has a tendency to have way too highly rated draft picks coming into the game immediately, and they jump up onto other teams' rosters throughout the league. So we will be going through and just making sure things are set to an appropriate standpoint where these players come in and don't take over immediately. But nonetheless, I think we had the 3rd or 4th pick, and with that pick, we definitely got the best player in the draft from what I saw whenever I looked through all the players, in Charles Ostrander, a center fielder here out of California. This guy is a 63 overall with A potential. He is an absolute monster of an athlete. He's already very good defensively. He's just going to have to work on his batting skills, but 18 years old, A potential, 63 overall. Absolutely crazy that we were able to get this guy and find this stud in the draft. And then we also picked up Paul Rowley, who is an 84 potential, which would be B potential, 66 overall player. Really good arm, has really crazy stamina to start off with, but I was looking to bolster our pitching staff, and you can see here that I had that mindset. With the first pick, I considered going pitcher, but I was just taking the best possible player available to us. Beyond that, I went with 4 pitchers to try to bolster our depth in the minor league system at the pitching position. So Paul Rowley we added as well. Roger Brown we added, who is a 51 overall A potential, so we got another stud in terms of potential here. We have 2 A potential players this draft, which is crazy, and a bunch of B potential players. We did add a right fielder that has a fantastic arm, and that's what I'm looking for in our corner outfielders. We don't have a lot of players on the roster that have that crazy arm, and Carson Hughes is that player. He starts off with really good contact, pretty solid athleticism. You guys can see all that. B potential, 67 overall, which is crazy to start as well. We'll probably have to lower him down a little bit, but we'll see what happens with that. Sean Ramirez here, who is a 65 overall B potential starting pitcher. And then Cy Holt was our final pick, who is a 22-year-old starting pitcher, 64 overall C potential. So the thing to consider here is that some of these players are different ages and development ranges. So Cy Holt, for example, is a 22-year-old player, which means he was basically a college player when we drafted him. There's the potential for him to come in early and actually contribute to the team. It would make sense because he's 22 years old. So we may leave his overall as like a 64 overall and allow him to come up quickly and compete for those positions. Whereas, 18, 19-year-olds, they probably shouldn't be quite as high. So whenever you take a look at guys like a 67 overall 19-year-old, that's probably going to go down a little bit. Paul Rowley, our second-round pick, who is 21 years old, again, a player that might be able to keep that 66 overall. But like I said, these things are going to change. Nonetheless, we had a massively successful draft here with 3 B potentials, 2 A potentials, a lot of very highly rated players. And then I think we even did well with our final pick in the draft, getting this guy that is a highly rated player with high C potential. And I did want to take a moment to compare to the draft picks that happened before us, which are the Orioles, the Rangers, and the Diamondbacks. So the Rangers drafted this 18-year-old pitcher. This is the player, one of the players that I was looking at pitcher-wise, but he ended up being a 55 with A potential. Still would have been a great prospect for us, but not as much of an immediate help to the team. The Orioles also took a starting pitcher in Andres Lopez, who's a 56 overall A potential. So a very similar player. Nonetheless, would not have been as much of a help to our team, and so I think we did honestly get the best possible player out there. There was this third baseman that went ahead of us, Milt Rosales, who was a 52 overall A potential. So I think we made out. We got one of the best players, if not the best players in the draft, which is absolutely crazy, and that's part of why I think his rating's not going to go down too much whenever we actually do adjust ratings for these players. And honestly, I think that MLB may have done a better job this year of not making too many high overall or crazy rated prospects coming into this season. We will have to see once all the prospects get signed to their teams and all that stuff happens, whether or not that is going to actually be the case. But nonetheless, that's our draft class for this year. I hope you guys are excited for it, because I'm super excited for it. And I do want to see if you guys will leave any cool names down below that we can name these guys for whenever they do come onto our team next season. With that being said, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to jump into this next game against the Arizona Diamondbacks, which Mitch Keller is actually pitching. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bat around with some of the players that we have there and maybe get you guys a couple of highlights from this game. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and jump into one and see what we can do. We're going to go ahead and join Mitch Keller here in the first inning. And I'm going to take some recommendations into account from you guys, and a nice first pitch swinging little grounder to first base. Vogelbach makes the play. But nonetheless, what I was saying is I'm going to take some of your recommendations into account, where essentially what I do is I pitch less power on my pitches to try to gain a little bit of control. The problem is you're more susceptible to being hit whenever you do that. I have noticed that the more control you get, the real trade-off is that there's just less bite on your pitches. You're more likely for someone to get a hit against you, especially with these lower overall guys. I mean, I don't know that a lot of people are used to playing with a low overall team like the Pirates. I mean, especially Diamond Dynasty players. I mean, you're playing with 90 overall players, so there's a huge difference between performance there. A nice second out. O'Neal Cruz makes the throw over to first base, but so far a good performance. Ketel Marte probably going to be our toughest batter in this lineup. I don't think he's performing all that well so far this season. He does have 9 doubles, which popped up down there in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, but the problem is I think Ketel Marte is a little bit better against lefties than righties, so we may still stand a chance with Mitch Keller against this lineup. I do want to see if I can't start to use the curveball a little bit more. There's a nice one. I would really like to get his curveball improving and use it for more strikeouts, because I have noticed that on all-star difficulty, curveballs can be quite effective. Now it's going to be a really well-hit ball. Reynolds makes the play on the run, and that gets us out of the first half of the first inning. Let's go ahead and advance to some of our batters in the lineup. Our first bat up is going to be Ke'Bryan Hayes. I will take a at-bat with him. I've been really working on my plate discipline, trying not to swing at quite as much. Playing Road to the Show on All-Star has, really helped me with my plate discipline and being able to lay off of certain pitches. I still do struggle against things that are down in the zone, whether that be a changeup, a sinker, a curveball. I struggle to recognize those from time to time. That should be a hit. Ke'Bryan Hayes going to get in there for a single. I'll take the early hit. Hopefully we can get a little run going on early in this game. That'll bring up Ben Gamble. I'm tempted just to bunt with him, to be honest. Oh, that's going to be a hit into a double play. Not a whole lot of power behind that hit at all. I would be curious to see if my timing was too early on that pitch. Yeah, we were very early, which is going to lead to that being a very weakly hit ball. He hung that curveball. We hit it well, but I don't think Reynolds has quite enough power. He's not able to get to that. Oh, I considered going for 3. I think we would have been beat out by the throw. They are going to score that a double, so we did get enough of that. Not enough for it to be a home run, but enough for Reynolds to get on base. And the 250, Daniel Vogelbach, batting 250, I should say, who's been playing really well for us this season, is up to bat with the potential to drive in a run. That's going to be a really well-hit ball, and that will score Bryan Reynolds a perfect timed liner out to center field. Daniel Vogelbach continues to be an excellent addition to this Pirates team, at least for us. I don't know how well he's doing in real life right now, but he has been phenomenal for us so far. Gets all of that one. You can see the power behind that hit. That does leave Vogelbach on base. Going to be very hard for him to advance because of his limited speed. And I should say, I've been trying to figure out how to pronounce everybody's names. A lot of announcers call him Vogelbach. I've heard him pronounced Vogelbach, so I don't know. You might hear me call him both from time to time. And then the other player that I was pronouncing his name incorrectly is Michael Chavis. I was pronouncing it Chavez before, just kind of assuming that it might have been a Hispanic type of a name. But in fact, it is Chavis. I think that's going to get down for a hit. It is. So we continue with 2 runners on base in this 2-out situation. I'm okay with this because this is going to continue to get the pitch count up. Merrill Kelly now at 15 pitches in the game, with O'Neal Cruz up in a key spot. That should be a really well-hit ball, but nonetheless, fly out. Really wish O'Neal had just a little bit more power to get that one past that outfielder. Didn't quite get all of that pitch, but Vogelbach is going to put us up 1-0. We put up 4 hits on the board early, and I'm hoping that that's a good sign for our performance in this game. Another key at-bat for O'Neal Cruz here. We have a man on second base. He is the speedy Alford, I believe. O'Neal Cruz going to get a pretty solid hit on that one. I think that that should be enough to advance our runner, though. Yes, it is. Okay, so advances the runner over to third base. Unfortunately, you can see that power is just not quite there yet for O'Neal Cruz for us in this franchise mode, but he is getting good contact on the ball. We now have a man over to third base. Mitch Keller, in the second inning, did give up a solo shot home run, so that's why the score is 1-1 now. Reese McGuire, recently acquired by us in this franchise, up to bat. Probably could have swung on that sinker that was up in the zone. Going to be a little bit more patient, though. That should score the runner. It does, and it gives us the lead back, 2-1. Nobody left on base as we are approaching the end of our order here. Here's Michael Chavis, who I was talking about. Let's go ahead and just take an at-bat with him since we have the opportunity and roll right into it. Thought I might have been able to get more of that one. It was a really good pitch to swing on. A cutter inside. It was good timing. He just simply doesn't have the contact or the power against this pitcher in order to launch that one. So 2-1 at the end of the 4th inning. Hopefully we can pull away with a win in this one. It's a very tight game. And a beautiful double play that's going to save Mitch Keller from giving up another run. Brian Hayes gets this ball and turns it quickly to second base. And that ball is going to be sent back over to first base really quick by Chavis. And it's a very, very close double play right there. Actually, a little bit less close than I thought, but a very nice double play that nonetheless in the bottom of the 6th, or I should say the top of the 6th, keeps the 2-1 lead alive. Now as we approach the 8th inning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Diego Castillo and David Bednar warming up in the bullpen and ready to go to try to shut out this game. Now, Mitch Keller has a lot of stamina left, so I'm going to leave him in here for now. But if things start to turn south, we'll get him out of the game quickly. That's going to help, though. 1 out on 1 pitch in the 8th inning. We may not even need to use both of these relief pitchers. Heck, Mitch Keller at this point, with how much stamina he has left, might even be able to go into the 9th. I don't think I'm going to do that with him because I do want to see Diego Castillo at the very least. Good fastball by Keller. We're going to go ahead and come back at him with a curveball. That'll be weakly grounded to Cruz. Cruz lines it up and sends it over to first base. Looks like Mitch Keller's going to be able to get out of this inning. We just have to be careful of the last batter. We are back to the top of the order. Almost said rotation there. Ooh, good circle changeup. Come back at him with a fastball. Oh, we got him to swing on that. That pitch was a little bit wild. I'm going to go curveball down in the dirt. That's a good curveball right to Ke'Bryan Hayes. A jumping catch. I didn't think he was going to need to do that, but a very nice snag ends the 8th inning. Let's go ahead and get another look at that play by Ke'Bryan Hayes. Does make a little bit of a hop for it. Gets up there. Pretty good vertical jump right into the glove. And that's what Ke'Bryan Hayes signed that contract with the team for in real life. Nonetheless, this is going to bring up the closing situation, the save situation for Diego Castillo. So I'm really curious to see if we can't finish this game out strong with the brand new pitcher to the team. I really like what I saw out of that sinker. Let's go ahead and see what this slider is all about. I love whenever I see a pitcher whose #1 pitch is a breaking pitch. Absolutely fantastic. I love pitching with that type of stuff. We're going to come back at him with a fastball. That's not going to do it. We'll hit it with a sinker, down and in. That one does not go exactly where I wanted to. Hayes able to reach over to that one, and another nice grab over the dugout. But I'm getting used to using him. Another nice slider, weakly grounded out to O'Neal Cruz. And that presents us with 2 outs now. Let's go ahead with the slider inside. See if we can't get him to swing at a pitch outside of the zone. Oh, he makes pretty solid contact with that, though. Cole Tucker, I don't know what Cole Tucker is doing. That's got to be an error, right? Nope, they're going to roll it a double. I guess Cole Tucker didn't have the speed to get there. Could be wrong. We're going to hit him with a couple of sliders here, which is going to be off speed, and then try to speed him up with the four-seam fastball. I'm going to hit him with another slider. Cole Tucker ranging back does make that play. I was very worried about that one. Cole Tucker, 2 plays in a row. Essentially what I would call errors. He did not, though. Nice grab there to finish that game off. No strikeout, but I did like the stuff out of Diego Castillo. I think he's going to be a rock in our bullpen for a couple of years to come for this team. We do get the 2-1 win. 7 hits to 5 for the Cardinals. Only that 1 solo shot home run allowed by Mitch Keller. Fantastic game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. As always, I'll see you guys in the next episode of the Pittsburgh Pirates franchise. Leave a like down below, comment down below, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, and I hope you have a good one.